I promise you guys, I do not go looking for this information. It just stumbles upon my Twitter timeline, and yesterday, former Astros catcher, DH, outfielder, whatever he was, Evan Gattis, he had a full-blown Twitter meltdown. He admitted to using steroids. He admitted to cheating against CC Sabathia, Clayton Kershaw, Yu Darvish. Like, this dude did not leave anything on the table, so we'll talk about that later on. The Halos pitching staff, they imploded yet again. I am sorry if you're an Angels fan, because that's going to be a problem all year long. The Rays are trying to become the first team in 40 or 50 years to begin a season 10-0. We saw a position player during a blowout throwing 94 to 95 miles an hour as a positional player on the bump, looking nasty, and Andrew Heaney in the same game, he made some history. So a lot to talk about today. Make sure you guys watch all the way until the end. It's going to be a good recap. Now again, later on, we are going to talk about Evan Gattis and his brain kind of turning into a bowl of jello and just completely throwing the Astros under the bus again for no reason. But the theme of today's video, bullpen implosions. And we have some perfect examples in this first game, the Braves versus the Reds. So Bryce Elder of the Atlanta Braves, he was playing on rookie mode. He essentially tossed 7 scoreless with 7 punch outs, no walks. Graham Ashcraft of the Reds, this dude is legit, ladies and gentlemen. He could be a number 2 starter. Yes, ahead of Hunter Green, because honestly, he's been better than Hunter Green over the last year, maybe year and a half. Atlanta, they were able to scrape together 2 runs, and both teams, they traded runs back and forth heading into the 9th inning with a 3-1 score. But like I mentioned, bullpen implosions, they were being handed out like cars in an Oprah show. You get a bullpen implosion. You get a bullpen implosion. Cincy, they not only tie it, but they steal the lead in the 10th inning. They just need to find a way to get Sean Murphy. Okay, yeah, that's not happening. Sean Murphy, his biggest moment as a member of the Braves, and it's only been a handful of games, his 2-run walk-off home run ups his season on-base percentage to 424. He has been an on-base god. Another exciting finish for the Braves, and if you're a Braves fan, you've probably lost 10 years off your life just this week alone. The Cubs and the Mariners, Luis Castillo has been so dominant to begin the season that giving up 2 runs over 6 innings raised his ERA to 1.05. He is so good, but Belly and Hosmer, they were able to get a few good looks in, and they came away with 2 runs in the 4th inning. Hosmer, out of nowhere, is now hitting .320 with 7 RBIs. I wouldn't mind a comeback story, to be honest. I do like Eric Hosmer. The Cubs, they were led by Drew Smyly, who turned in a gem after being lit up in the first few weeks of the season. He stifled the Mariners offense all night long. 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, only 1 earned run. That is pretty impressive if you ask me. He just had to cross his fingers and hope that, hope for the best. Well, there it goes. His chance at a W is 0 now. Jared Kelenic meets scoreboard. Yeah, that ball was absolutely crushed, and we have a tie ball game. That home run sent it to extras where Chicago fans, they could finally breathe again. Nico Horner, he walks it off. The Rockies and the Cardinals, I'm not sure I've ever seen a play like this. The Cardinals got a huge strikeout, and then they threw out Charlie Blackmon at second for a double play, only to have Ezekiel Tovar sneak home. Okay, maybe I've seen that before, but it was like 20 years ago down the street in a Little League game. Anyways, St. Louis, they save face a little in the next half inning, but the Rockies offense, they pulled an Uno reverse card. They popped off for 2 runs as Montero and Trejo, they knocked in a few, and then Trejo did it again later in the 6th inning to make it 5-3. Scratch that. It's 6-3 after rookie Ezekiel Tovar, his RBI double, kind of starts the rally again. I need him to get going because he has crazy high talent. Ramon Marquez was pretty good in this game, but unfortunately, he did have to leave early with some forearm tightness. I hope that he's okay. He had 4 strikeouts, 0 walks over 5 innings. The Cardinals, they fall to 3-7, but at least Jordan Walker upped his hitting streak to 10 games. I think that's all that really matters right now because the Cardinals, they're going to be fine as the season progresses. Then again, maybe they might not because that pitching stinks. You know whose pitching did not stink yesterday? The Rangers. We'll talk about Andrew Heaney in just a moment because Texas, they dominated on both sides of the diamond. Corey Seager, that's his first home run of 2023. He now has 8 RBIs and a 162 OPS plus after that infield single and the home run. Okay, we know Texas scored a bunch. Let's talk about Andrew Heaney. Andrew, he came into this season with all the question marks in the world, and they were bad questions like, can Andrew Heaney repeat what he did for the Dodgers? And so far, it did not look that great. But in yesterday's outing, yeah, he made some history. He struck out 9 hitters in a row at one point, which ties an AL record. He fell just 1 short of the MLB record, 10, that was set by Aaron Nola and someone else. I can't remember the second guy. His ERA in the season is still 8.22, but throwing 5 innings of 0 earned run ball with 10 strikeouts on 2 hits, yeah, that'll get you back on track. Bubba Thompson has been an extra base machine with that elite speed, and Travis Jankowski, I don't know how to say his last name, I keep forgetting, but he has found some new life on his 6th team since 2019. Adolis Garcia is yet again having an Adolis start to the season. That grand slam gives him 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, really good, but a 279 on base percentage. That's Adolis Garcia for you. Now, later in this game, we saw Nate Eaton, who is actually MLB's #1 outfielder in terms of arm strength. At least that's what Baseball Savant says and StatCast says. So he's throwing 100 to 102 miles an hour in the outfield, and then on the bump, he's throwing 93 to 95 mile per hour two seams. He actually struck someone out. He didn't give up a single run, so maybe we can have a two-way player Nate Eaton card in MLB The Show. The Mets and the Padres. New York really needed Max Scherzer to get on track in this one, and he got a little bit sassy with his catcher Tomas Nido after Nido. He called time in the first, but luckily for both of those guys and the Mets, it turned out okay for the rest of the game. Mad Max, he skated around a few jams, and he was helped out by Jeff McNeil's 2-run double in the third. Scherzer, he left after 96 pitches, so it took him 96 pitches to get through 5, but he went 5 shutout, only allowed 2 base hits, so the command was definitely an issue, but he was what I call effectively wild. Now, we haven't really talked much about Francisco Lindor this year, but there he is with a 2-run 2-bagger. Ottavino, he struck out the side, and then he hit his head with that Carmelo Anthony 3 celebration. I thought that was cool because I loved Carmelo growing up. That was the biggest win of the season for the Mets, at least in my opinion, who look much better as of late. Playing at home has definitely kind of fixed some of their mistakes, and they look ready to take off. The Phillies and the Marlins. Sandy Alcantara, more like Sandy Cheeks, because that's who the Phillies faced yesterday. And like, all jokes aside, I love Sandy Alcantara, but they must have an Alcantara voodoo doll because they rake every single time that they face this man. They tagged the reigning NL Cy Young winner for 9 earned runs after a barrage of hits started on a Jake Cave home run, and it ended with a Brandon Marsh 2-run double. Now, Sandy, he's going to be fine. He is still one of the most valuable players in all of baseball. Like, not just pitchers, players, because his arm is made of metal. He can go 7+ every single start, but everyone has an off day every so often. Alec Boehm, he is looking like a brand new hitter. 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. He's still hitting 350, so he's getting it done in every department offensively. His 6 RBIs led everyone in baseball yesterday. In Philly, they ended up with 15 runs after a Christian Pache single and a Brandon Marsh home run. I didn't even have time to mention Matt Strahm, who has begun the season with 10 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, and replacement of Ranger Suarez, who should be back in the next few weeks. So the Phillies, they're looking better and better as the days pass. All right, here we go. The Rays versus the Red Sox. Can Tampa Bay improve to 10-0 against a better team? So this Rays pitching staff, they've been blessed and touched by the baseball gods themselves. Another shutout. Are you kidding me? Nick Pivetta, he kept Boston in the game for as long as he physically could. He threw a gem of his own. 6 strikeouts over 5 scoreless. It was a huge start for not only the Boston Red Sox, but for his confidence as well. Ultimately, though, the Tampa Bay arms are just too overpowering. Brandon Lau's solo home run in the 8th was all that they needed. Beeks, Fleming, Clevenger, Poche, and Fairbanks, they combined for a 3-hit shutout with 10 strikeouts. They're calling him Peter Rarebanks because they rarely see him. Like, they've won so often and by so much that their closer just got his first save of the season in their 10th win in a row. The Rays are the first team since 1987 to start the season 10-0. Again, that joke I made in the second recap of the season that the Rays might never lose, I can't believe it's still holding true. They're 10-0. Now, not only did the Boston Red Sox lose that game, but they lost their best player, at least the best player to begin the season, Adam Duvall. He's going to be out for a while with a broken wrist. He was MLB's best hitter with 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, a 455 batting average, and a stupid 308 OPS plus. I'm so sad for not only him, but Red Sox fans as well, because he was a godsend. The Guardians and the Yankees. This is a fun game, and Yankees fans got to be sick of the Guardians already. Giancarlo Stanton and New York, they jumped Shane Bieber early. But we all know what the Guardians are known for. Yeah, just being pesky and annoying. It happened again. Will Brennan drove in his 5th RBI over the last 24 hours on a sac fly, and Mike Zunino doubled in Josh Bell to even it at 2 runs apiece. A crazy stat for you guys, Austin Hedges, who was basically the full-time catcher for the Guardians last year, he had 4 doubles in all of 2022. Mike Zunino has 5 doubles already on the season. Over his last 153 games, he's hitting 205, which sucks, but he has 39 home runs and a 115 OPS plus, so he does have some pop in that bat. Bieber kept Cleveland in it. He threw 6 scoreless after that rough first, and Karinchak, he went crazy after setting down Aaron Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton after Glaber's leadoff triple. So he went full Karinchak after striking out Stanton. I love watching that. I don't care. Naylor Sackfly brought home Stephen Kwan and Clase. He made it look easy in the final inning. Cleveland is now 7-4, even though they are dead last in home runs. I think that Brian Reynolds and a couple other guys, they have 5 home runs as a single player. The Guardians have 5 home runs as a team. But yeah, they're 7-4, even though they don't hit home runs and they don't have Tristan McKenzie. I'll take that. Now, real quick, I do want to mention that Anthony Anthony Volpe is getting his first rest day of the season. He's hitting 129 with 12 strikeouts and 36 at-bats. Remember, both Adley Rutschman and J-Rod were awful. They looked terrible to begin their careers last year in 2022. It's going to take some time. Anthony Volpe, he's going to be good. The Astros and the Pirates, this game hurt me as a baseball fan because I want Roansy Contreras to be nasty. Both him and Mitch Keller, they can be aces in their own right. They have the stuff to do it, but they have blow-up starts every so often. The Astros, yeah, they torched him with an approach of death by 1,000 paper cuts on offense. They scored 4 on a bunch of singles. Jordan already has 16 RBIs as Pittsburgh, they left Roansy in there to test his fortitude. Now, he got the job done, kind of. He 8 innings, but deja vu happened. Houston, they scored 7 runs before the 5th, all on singles. Framber Valdez had a really weird start. He had 5 strikeouts, 2 earned runs in 7 innings. Pretty good, but 5 walks. He's got to get that command back in check. Houston, they got their 8th and final run on a Bregman single. So many singles, you would have thought that we were swiping on Tinder. Just everyone single. Now, because we talked about the Astros, let's talk about a former Astro. Evan Gattis had a full-blown meltdown. Now, he's been prone to this over the last few years. He just gets bored and starts going on rants, and he said that he knew what pitch was coming in a CC Sabathia at-bat way back in the day, and I don't think that Yankees fans are going to be happy about that. He knew every single pitch against Kershaw and Yu Darvish, but then he said that Yu Darvish was so nasty at one point that even though they knew it was coming, they still couldn't hit him. So Evan Gattis, he threw the Astros under the bus. He said that he took PEDs at one point as well. Again, this is all alleged based off what Evan Gattis said on Twitter, but I don't know. Alcohol plus former baseball player on the Astros, not a good combination. The Orioles versus the A's. Baltimore basically had the exact opposite offensive attack as the Astros. They scored all of their first few runs on home runs. That stupid wall in left field could not hold back these dudes. Mountcastle, his last name really suits him. 421 feet on that 2-run home run. And Adley, he is honestly better than advertised. He is so much better than I could have ever imagined. 35 doubles, 16 home runs, and a 135 OPS plus in his first 123 games as a young catcher. That's nuts. Kyle Gibson had a swing and miss stuff going. He improves to 3-0 after Austin Hayes. He blasted off for his first home run. And Ramon Urias, he got to 5 runs on a single. Go figure. He ruined the home run streak. How could he? By the way, shout out to Baltimore's bullpen. They had to get the final 8 outs, and they got 7 of them via the strikeout. If their pitching holds up, Grayson is going today, they're going to be good. The White Sox and the Twins, a little interdivision rivalry game. So Chicago, they kind of reverted back into the 2022 Sox by making some bad plays on defense, which made it harder for their ace Dylan Cease. Luckily for Cease, his defense, they knew they messed up, and they made up for it in the batter's box. Grandal had an RBI single, and Hanser Alberto smoked this pitch for a huge 3-run home run for Dylan Cease. Now, staying with Dylan Cease, more unearned runs, as Dylan allowed 3 on the day, only 1 of them was earned. He has 24 strikeouts and a 1.65 ERA in 16 innings. Yet again, he has proven to be one of the best and nastiest starters in baseball. Ronaldo Lopez, he was one of baseball's worst starting pitchers for a while, but he has been a whole lot better as a relief pitcher. A shaky start to the season, but there he is getting a 4-out save. 3 of those outs came via the strikeout, so he's still nasty. Hey guys, I just want to confirm that this dude, Mookie Betts, he is still very, very good at baseball, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame pretty soon, and I'm going to be at his induction. You know who's going to be watching with me? Max Muncy. Okay, all jokes aside, I know that Max Muncy's not going to make the Hall of Fame, but he had his best game over the last few years, in my opinion. So that 3-run home run nearly went 410 feet. Julio Urias, by the way, just keeps getting better and better. I'm so stupid for not picking him as my ERA favorite and Cy Young favorite in the National League for 2023. He's 3-0 already with 20 strikeouts and a 1.5 ERA in 18 innings. A small sample size, but he's no joke when it comes to throwing baseballs. Betts, he picked up his 2nd RBI of the day after James Outman had another extra base hit. James Outman, he's so good. But speaking of extra base hits, Max Muncy, he drove one the other way for a grand slam, totaling 7 RBIs on the day. He's hitting 194 with an 800 OPS. Baseball. This Diamondbacks and Brewers game was over in, no joke, like 13 minutes and 11 seconds, something crazy like that. Okay, it was 2 hours and 12 minutes. But still, are we liking the pitch clock? I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I enjoy being in bed earlier. The pitch clock is doing its job, and I really like the pace of baseball now. More stolen bases, more base hits. The offense is through the roof to begin the year. Josh Rojas, he got Zach Gallen cooking with some run support, and Christian Walker put the nail in Wade Miley's coffin with that 3-run Oppo Taco, his 2nd of the year. Gallen honestly might be the most underrated superstar superstar, yes, superstar in baseball. 7 shutout innings, 11 strikeouts against a pretty good Brewers team. Arizona isn't the biggest market, so the dude, he kind of doesn't get the recognition, but Zach Gallen is a monster. A 3.15 ERA and 530 strikeouts in his first 475 innings. Andrew Chafin, he K's the side, his 3rd save. He's been great for the Diamondbacks. The Nationals and the Angels, just like that Mariners game versus the Cubs, this game cost a ton of people their parlay because I had the Mariners winning and then they get walked off by the Cubs, and then I threw an in-game bet for the Angels. I'm never doing in-game bets ever again. Anyways, back to the game. Patrick Corbin was back on the bump, so you could basically pencil in an early deficit for the Nationals. And like I said, pencil that in ink. You don't have to erase anything. Corbin gave up 4 in the first 3 innings. And Washington basically said, screw it. If you want to make this money, go out there and eat innings and save the bullpen, or otherwise we're going to release you and you better start learning Japanese, buddy. I don't know. I see that joke everywhere on Twitter. But yeah, Patrick Corbin, he kind of did his job. After giving up 4 runs, he settled in, and I guess the offense did as well. Now, they did get a ton of help from the Halos defense. Jamir Candelario then laced a 2-run single to even the score at 4-all. Tucker Davidson came in to try and put out the fire. He ended up allowing 2 against the Nationals as the bullpen for Washington came in clutch. Like, they really showed up. They held the Angels hitless over the final 4 innings. Kyle Finnegan has 2 saves on the year, and this was honestly the most Angels game I've seen in quite some time. It reminded me a lot of why people just don't trust the Angels. They were held hitless by the Nationals bullpen, and they lose 6-4 after being up a lot early against Patrick Corbin. You can't lose that game. Another recap is in the books. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another MLB recap.